I had to follow Dr. Freeman Abrowski, who is one of Time Magazine's most influential leaders, and the governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan, so I had to stand up and follow those guys. Now I've got to follow my son, and I'm really, really proud of him. I shouldn't have been surprised when I said, as he's kind of working on his career, what is it that you want to do? Let's think about buying a business, that he came back with a fishing business as his idea. Because when he was a fraternity guy at Vanderbilt, as other students were coming in from the evening, Ryan was getting out early to go fishing before class. And as students were starting to head to class, Ryan is standing out behind a fraternity house, usually cleaning a fish that he was going to have later. So that shouldn't have been a surprise, but he had a tremendous career and is now on his own working, and we're so thrilled that he and Allie are in North Carolina. Wendy and I have a house on Lake Kiowee, different lake, but a view that looks a lot like that. And so we're about 2 hours down the road, and we couldn't be more thrilled. I have a great friend, a couple of great friends here, Joel Barham and Richie Davis from Cell Ethics. Joel is the founder and CEO of Cell Ethics. They are the best food representative, best food brokers in the country. And we were talking earlier, I probably owe the fact that I became CEO to Joel, because when I was running our U.S. consumer business, McCormick didn't have the food line business. And I said to Joel, we got to get this business. And it was the thing that probably differentiated me, the one thing that threw it over the line. If there was a competition for CEO, and there always is, it really differentiated me and probably helped get me the job. So Joel, thank you. And so if you're a small food company and you're looking for representation, Joel and Richie are the guys to do it. Now I'm just a pepper salesman, and so if y'all could do me a favor, I know lunch is over. If you could just take that pepper shaker and pour a little bit on the table, that would help me tremendously. So please do that. I thought I'd talk a little bit about McCormick and how that relates to running a business, and how actually a multi-billion-dollar global corporation has a lot of the same challenges and a lot of the same issues and a lot of the same opportunities as any small business, and they really are pretty closely correlated. McCormick is 128 years old. It was founded by one guy in his house near the Inner Harbor of Baltimore 128 years ago, 1889. And he started the whole idea of make the best, someone will buy it. We're going to differentiate on product. We're going to have the best product, and we're coming from an industry where things are grown all over the world. And there's a lot of sometimes economic adulteration because spices are pretty expensive, and so people cheat. And sometimes there's just a lot of different things that end up in your spices. And so his philosophy, starting his business, was make the best, someone will buy it. And that's a strategy, because it says that we're not necessarily going to sell to everyone. Not everybody's going to be our customers. And nobody today buys from McCormick because we're the cheapest. They buy from McCormick because the brand promise of the taste you trust is really what it's all about. Now, I was fortunate enough to become CEO in 2008. And if y'all remember 2008, that was a really fun year. And so I came into the idea that I'm going to develop a strategy, I'm going to develop a long-term corporate brand that's going to survive, and my legacy is going to be exactly that. Well, in the summer of that year, in August of that year, we closed on the largest acquisition in the history of McCormick, Lowry's. We had the highest debt that McCormick had in its modern times. And then on September 19th, 2008, Lehman Brothers collapsed. And if you recall, the debt markets went crazy. Some of you may have been in banking. Some of you may still be feeling some of the impact of that. But so what we had to do is really step back and say, what are the values that we stand for, and how are we going to respond to that? So I pulled my team together, and we did what every other company in the world was doing that year. We stepped back and we said, what is our contingency plan? What are we going to do if things really get bad? And so we put that list together just like every other company did. A lot of people pull the trigger on this stuff. You know, we can cancel bonuses, we can cut pay, we can cut people, we can freeze the 401k match, we can cut our pension contribution, we can eliminate our pensions entirely. and we can reduce staff by 10 or 15%. We said, okay, we got it, we understand, and I said to the team at that time, we understand that. So what are we going to do? We put that in a binder, and I put it in the CFO, and we had it in the CFO's desk. And so we said, okay, here's the situation. Our business is still doing okay. So we're gonna see what happens, because the big benefit of that was a lot of people stopped going out to eat, and a lot of people started cooking at home. Well, that's good for our business. We also have a food service business, but people cooking at home is generally pretty good for us. We said our bonuses are really self-correcting. So, and we pay bonuses, by the way, to 100% of our employees, not just to a bunch of folks that sit in big offices. But we said the bonuses are self-correcting. If we don't make more money this year than we made last year, we pay zero bonus. That's how that was our bonus structure. And we said that's self-correcting. If we have the money to pay it, we'll pay it. So we got into February 2009, and we said, okay, we're going to go ahead and give raises to our hourly employees. If we have to pull that back later, if we have to cancel the management employees' pay raises, we'll do that. But in February, we'll do that. And we went to the teams and we said, here's the situation, here's our promise to you, here's what we need from you. And that kind of worked out. I'll just jump to the end of the story. And that year in 2009, we had double-digit earnings growth. We had dipped when the stock market dipped. I did my first annual meeting, my first shareholder meeting, on a day where the stock had dropped 15%. And so you kind of, it's a little pucker factor, because CEOs CEOs have an average life expectancy of about 6 years. And it's kind of, actually at the time it was less than that. And it's bifurcated, because you either get fired in your first 2 years because you can't do the job, or you get to stay for about 7 or 8 years. But that was kind of the average. I'm sitting there my first year in the job, and I just had a 15% stock drop overnight. So all that kind of worked out, and it helped us.